Good evening, folks, and welcome back to Wilderness Wargaming. Tonight, we're going to take a break from the faction focus articles, and we're going to take a look at a leak of what seems to be most of the rules from the new rulebook, and go over them in as much detail as we can in a reasonable amount of time, and try to suss out some of the more interesting bits. So stay tuned for this exciting look at this leak from Games Workshop. And please remember to like, subscribe, comment down below, and click the notifications bell for more great content from Wilderness Wargaming. And let's get right into it. So we're going to start right off. We got the command phase. Appears to be split into two phases. You each gain a command point, and then you resolve any other command stuff that may or may not pertain to an army. After that, you go in to take your battle shock tests, which we already know we're going to happen in the command phase, but now we know the precise order they're going to happen in. So anything that would be resolved here is resolved before you are or are not battle shocked down here. Nothing too surprising there, but it is good to know that order of operations. Also, one thing you'll notice in these, because these are leaks, is you see this here material or pants or something like that underneath it. And if I were at Games Workshop, I'd be looking around real carefully for anything that looked like this pattern to figure out who did this leaking. Starting strength. Now, this we already knew this, that the a character who's going to join a unit was going to increase its starting strength by 1. The character is not in a unit, it's going to be below half strength when it has less than half the number of wounds. The interesting part here is that they did resolve any potential confusion with them, because we now know that if either the leader unit or the bodyguard unit and attached unit is destroyed, the starting strength of whatever remains goes back to its original. So if you have Primary's Captain strength of 1, attached unit of intercessors strength 5, attached unit becomes starting strength 6. If all the intercessors are destroyed, the remaining Primary's Captain revert to having a starting strength of 1. So he is now basically back to being a single unit at full strength at that point, and won't have to take a battle shock test or be below half strength until he is down to half his wounds. This is particularly helpful for my sisters, because now we know we can put, say, a canoness, I'm assuming she'll be able to join a unit, in there, add her to the starting strength, take a casualty, start getting bonuses, and then you'll start all over again when you get back to the canoness just herself. For purposes of rules of trigger, when a unit is destroyed, such rules are triggered when one of the individuals that make up an attached unit is destroyed. For rules which you 1 victory point every time an enemy unit is destroyed, and you target an attached unit, you would gain 1 victory point if the body unit is destroyed, and 1 victory point if the leader unit is destroyed, for a total of 2. Okay, so you can't use basically the bodyguard and the attachment rules to sneak around any other rules, is what I'm really taking from this. And we got, looks like a power cord across something here. I'm partly interested in this. This kind of thing, this is just a quick aside, this kind of including stuff in the background of a photograph is traditionally how counterintelligence has caught lots and lots of spies. So I'm going to be interested to see as we go through this what other clues to the spies identity are there. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to figure out who it is, but I bet you somebody at Games Workshop who knows what they're doing could probably figure it out. Okay, movement phase. I don't think there's anything really particularly new here. We'll just keep going. Advances are not really changed. Fall back. And now there's something called a desperate escape chest. Models can move over enemies and make a fallback move as if these enemy models were not there, but you must take a desperate escape test for every model that will do so, excluding Titanic and Fly, before any models in that unit are moved. In addition, if the unit is battle shocked with selected fallback, you must take a desperate escape test for every model in that unit before any are moved. Time you take a desperate escape test for roll 1d6. For each roll of 1 to 2, one model from that unit is destroyed. The model can only ever trigger one. The same model can only ever trigger one desperate escape test per turn. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. That's how it's going to work. Here are some Stern Guard making fall back and losing 2 models for a 1 and a 2. All right, okay, so whoever is doing this evidently owns a Ford. That's a major error there, Bubba. And let's see here. Moving over terrain. Model could be moved over terrain. Features that are 2 inches or less in height as if they were not there. Move vertically as part of its move. And it cannot end moves mid-climb. Okay, I don't think there's anything new there. Not too much in the fly. Reinforcement, no, nothing else there. Reinforcements. You have a deep strike roll. They will arrive later in the battle and are known as reserve units. Any reserve units that have not been up from the battlefield when the battlefield ends and count as destroyed. So it sounds like, if I'm reading this right, only, well, no, such as deep strike. So it sounds like you have to have a rule on the unit now to do it. You can't just put any model into strategic reserves with command points and then bring them out later. Okay, they count as having made a new normal movement, therefore cannot move farther. Okay. Oh, I already knew it was a Fords. That's what his volume buttons look like. Fight phase. In both steps of the fight phase, players alternate selecting. Both steps of the fight phase, players alternate selecting eligible units from their army one at a time. So no big change there. Fights first. Okay, now I know what the old boy's fingers look like. And a larger part of the console of his vehicle. So that's interesting. Getting back to the unit, it doesn't look like the fight phases really change much. Here's rules for fast roll. Example of fast rolling here. Here's an example data sheet. We've seen enough data sheets now to already understand how those are going to look. More explanation of the data sheet deployment abilities. Okay, deep strike. Units can be set up in reserves instead of on the battlefield. You can be set up in your reinforcements step more than 9 inches horizontally away from. Okay. Not a big change there. Scouts, Scout X. You can make a normal move up to X as if it were your movement phase if it has scouts, and now that clears up what that does. If it's in a transport, the transport can make this move instead, must be 9 inches horizontally for all enemy models, provided, however, that only models with this ability are embarked in the dedicated transport. So you can't now, oh, that's going to suck. I can't pile Dominions into a transport with, say, Sacrosancts and move the whole thing and then have the Sacrosancts climb out. Oh, well. It does make sense. Infiltrators, no big difference here. Leader. Here's the units they can lead. For each leader in your army, if your army also includes one of that more leaders, bodyguard, you can select one as a bodyguard unit. Okay, you don't have to. Well, this tracked as an attached unit. Okay. Each time an attack targets an attached unit, all the attacking units, although it's taking to see the toughness of the bodyguard unit, even though the unit has a different toughness. So that actually your leader has higher toughness. You're going to lose out a little bit there. That's very interesting and important. So if your leader has significantly higher toughness than the unit, and you cannot choose to allocate to the character either, even if they've lost wounds somehow, under normal circumstances. Let's see what else. This guy's pants. So now we know what that material is. It's definitely his pants. That's his zipper right there. Let's not dwell on that. Stratagems. When you use a stratagem, reduce your CP total by the amount listed on that stratagem. Okay, no kidding. Command reroll. So we have command rerolls. Hit, wound, damage, saves, advanced charge, desperate escape, hazardous tests, and you can reroll. Counteroffensive. This is the interrupt that everybody likes. That's 2 CP. Epic challenge. This is 1 CP here. Okay, all melee attacks made by that model have the precision ability. So what precision does, I have learned, and we'll probably see farther down, is that it basically allows you to bypass the bodyguard unit and directly attack the character. Okay, so that's for if you want to challenge your insane bravery. This is to this is after you fail the battle shock stratagem, you automatically pass for 1 CP. Now this is great because you don't have to do it before you know if you passed or not. You can wait, and if you fail, use it then. Grenade. One enemy unit that is not within engagement range and within 8 inches visible to your grenades, it rolls 6d6 for every 4 plus they take a mortal wound. That's cool. That's a great simplification of grenades. I like that a lot. Tank shock. After your unit ends a charge move, so it's 1 vehicle unit. And so this could be walkers. This could be any kind of vehicle. It's tank shock, but it's any vehicle. Even skimmers, maybe even certain kinds of bikes, if they have the vehicle keyword. A lot of bikes don't. Ends after you makes a charge with select enemy unit with an engagement range. That's like 1 melee weapon you use. Roll a number of d6 of that strength characteristic. if that enemy's strength unit is greater than the enemy's toughness, roll 2 additional. Okay. Every 5+, you get a mortal wound. That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. That is, it'll be real hard to use it on enemy vehicles. You have to ram them. You're probably not going to get the extra 2d6, just because mostly the vehicle strength is lower than their toughness. That's pretty rapid ingress. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead too quickly. So let's go on to rapid ingress. End of your enemy's movement phase. When unit in reserves, your unit can arrive on the battlefields with a reinforcement specific unit. So this is great because you can bring a model in at the end of the enemy's movement, out of sight, and then be able to move it before trying to charge or do something else at the end of yours. And even if the enemy decides to deal with it immediately, you can really maybe draw them out of position. I'm going to be using this one a lot. This one I think is my favorite. Fire Overwatch. Enemy's movement charger phase. Within 24 inches, you can just shoot as with until the end of the phase. Each time a model makes a range attack, and a 6 roll is required to score a hit, irrespective of the user's ballistic skill. You can only use it once per turn. Okay, so nobody changes. Go to ground. Until the end of the phase, all models in your unit have a 6-up invulnerable save and have the benefit of cover. That's pretty. So it's like going prone. That's good. This is great because real life soldiers do this. Like if you're under fire and you're in the open, you're going to get down. This is pretty good. I wish they had this as not a stratagem, like something where you could do this, but on your next roll, on your next movement phase, you could not make a normal move. You had to advance, and you can only get the advance amount of the movement instead, or something like that. I'm just thinking out loud, but that would be cool. But I like the fact that they've added something like this. Smoke screen. One smoke unit from your army is selected as a target of attacks in your opponent's shooting phase. All models have the benefit of cover and the stealth ability. So that's good because this one isn't neutralized by things that ignore cover, which is already shaping up to be a little more prevalent than I'd like. Not terribly so, but a little bit. Heroic intervention. Whoa. You can only select walkers. So this is units can do it. I guess characters will probably be able to do it if they're independent characters without the stratagem. But that's interesting. That's going to change a lot of things. Make range attack. Okay, big guns never tire. Oh, we're shooting their, even while they're in engagement range, one or more enemy units, even if they're walkers. Range units equipped by a monster, if you go to target one or more of the enemy units, they are engagement, even if other friendly units are also in engagement range. Each time a monster vehicle makes a range attack, it was in engagement range, one or more enemy units while selected its targets, unless that attack subtract 1 for its hit roll. Okay. A unit that is still not that, unless they will shoot, or its models are equipped with pistols. Okay. Army that are ultra shoot can, however, target and shoot, so that they can be shot back. Can shoot and be shot at while they're in engagement. So this is making big guns never tire even better. Remember, because they do not have to target units in engagement. Now, they still can't target with blast that is in engagement range, I don't believe. But they can shoot at targets that are not in engagement range. The big change is that now they can still be shot while in engagement range. So touching the tank doesn't lock you out of shooting it with other. I mean, you can still be shot by the tank or the dreadnought or whatever. Locked in combat, no big change for stealth. The model in this unit has this ability that each time our each attack roll is made against that unit, subtract 1 for hit roll. Okay, that's good. How to make attacks. This is not changed. Allocate attack, saving throw. This is not really different. Inflict damage. Feel no pain. At this point, you make your feel no pain rolls. Deadly demise. This is when things explode. Weapon abilities. Assault. Shoot even when they advance. This is becoming more rare, I believe, because now you don't have, every unit doesn't have to have a keyword, as opposed to in 9th edition where you had lots of weapons that had assault because they didn't want to put anything else on it because everything had to be a type. Until they got Votan, they came out with Hunter, which was basically a cute way of saying this weapon doesn't have a type. Rapid fire, no change. Ignores cover. You can have the benefit of cover against that attack. Okay. Twin linked. We already know what this does. You can reroll the wound. Pistols. You can shoot in an engagement range. Torrent. These do not require hit rolls. Lethal hits. Critical hits. Lethal hits. A critical automatically lose. Normally a critical is a 6, but it can be lower. I think. Lance weapons are deadly on the charge. This is a new one. Weapons with lance in their profile are known as lance weapons. Each time an attack is made with such a weapon, if the member made a charge move, add 1 to the wound roll. I like it. I'm going to love this on Shining Spears on those occasions when I play my Craft Worlds. Indirect fire. We went over this extensively on the the Sisters Organ vehicle, whose name I just can't remember all of a sudden for some reason. Attacks can destroy enemy models in a unit, even though none have been visible. Okay, got it. This is no big change. This is not really any different than it is now. It's just going to give up cover, and you're going to give up -1 hit against vehicles like that. Precision. Precision can attack a character as long as the character is visible, even when they are part of a unit. Blast. Add 1 to the attack's characteristic for every 5 models in the unit. Cannot be used in engagement range. Okay, that's a little bit different. Instead of being a minimum floor for attacks, it now gives you a bonus per 5 models in the target unit. Meltas are powerful heat rays. Half range, they get the bonus listed by the Melta. So Melta 2 will probably be the typical for actual Melta weapons, ones that have the keyword Melta. Or rather have the name Melta. Because now you're going to have non-Melta weapons that are Melta, like Fire Dragon fusion guns, probably. Heavy, +1 to hit when they remain stationary. Know about that. Hazardous. Okay, this is an improvement. You have to take a hazardous after you've shot. So roll 1d6 for each weapon that was used. So if you have 2 hazardous weapons, you have to take 2. That's going to be tough on plasma inceptors unless they count as twin linked. Each roll of 1, the bottle is destroyed. For each roll of 1, somebody's destroyed. Unless it's character models for vehicle, and then they take 3 morals. Now this is great because now is not affected by the number of shots anymore. So if you're firing, even if you have 2 of them, if you're firing 3 shots each, you're not rolling 6 tests, you're rolling 1. And it's not affected by rerolls. You can command reroll this, as we saw in the command reroll stratagem, but it is not affected by the number of attacks or by regular hit rerolls. Devastating wounds. This changes the damage to mortal wounds. Sustained hits cause extra hits on critical hits. Extra attacks. It can make attacks with this weapon in addition to the one it chooses to fight with. And you can't further modify that. Okay. Unmodified roll of X plus scores a critical wound. Okay. So this is critical wounds against a certain type of target, is what anti is. Charge phase. No big changes here. New list of core stratagems. Fire Overwatch, go to ground, rapid ingress, grenade, smoke screen, command, reroll, counteroffensive, insane bravery, heroic intervention, epic challenge, and tank shock. Okay, tank shock. All right. I think that's everything on the leaked rules that we've seen there. A lot of this stuff is, this is stuff that was already out. Oh, these are some earlier leaks that were nonsense. This is up here. It doesn't belong here. I remember some of these. I think Auspex Tactics, another big Warhammer channel, went over these already and proved that a lot of them were nonsense. So we're not going to go into all of that. We're just looking at the most current links of what appears to be the actual rulebook by a man who drives a Ford, and it looks like he wears some kind of polyester blue pants and has volume controls on his steering wheel. Games Workshop, if you're looking for some counter intel. Also appears to, that's what he looks like. Okay. Nothing here that... some things here that are very interesting. Very, very handy and cool. I like it. I really like the go-to-ground rule. That's just a big... overall, just improvement in the quality of play. That now your units, your guys don't have to just stand there and take fire. You can have them go prone in some manner. Nothing there that I really, really dislike. I haven't talked about already. I'm kind of not sure I like the twin linked rule. Because what it's done is it's created a lot of weapons that are obviously twin weapons, but now they have different description, like the twin las cannons on the side of the Land Raider are now Godhammer las cannons or something like that, so they can have 2 shots, but they're not twin linked, so they don't get the wound reroll. Even though it's obviously a twin las cannon. I'm not so sure I'm crazy about that. I think you would have just been better to leave them as twins, eliminate the keyword entirely, and not worry about it. Although, in some cases, it's great. Like, if you're aggressors and you have 2 power fists, it overcomes that. So, I mean, I don't know. I might have to think about that one a little bit more. Either way, thanks for watching. This has been our latest update. We're going to get back to the faction focuses very soon, continue on with our other stuff, and we are going to have that camping video this weekend, hell or high water, guaranteed. So, thanks for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment down below, and click the notifications bell for more great content from Wilderness Wargaming, and I will be back with you very soon.